Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the January 13th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Ms. DeBusk, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll start the roll call. Chair Escobedo.
Here.
Commissioner Bach.
Here.
Commissioner Bonderson.
Here.
Commissioner Higgins.
Here.
Commissioner Lodge.
Here.
Commissioner Wardlow.
Commissioner Wardlow, I think you're muted.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Wiscombe.
I see that Commissioner Wiscombe is in the meeting, but maybe she's having some technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give it a
Commissioner
second.
Wiscombe.
There she is.
Thank you, Commissioner Wiscombe.
Commissioner Wiscombe, are you having technical difficulties? New Year, same issues with the tech. No worries. We'll just be a little bit patient. Mr. Busk?
Yes, we can move on to the preliminary matters, and we'll acknowledge that Chair Wiscombe joined us as soon as she can get her technical difficulties taken care of.
Sounds great.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I put in my AirPods and I forgot to connect them, so.
No problem. No problem. Well, happy to see you all here. Before we move on to preliminary matters, I wanted to acknowledge our two new commissioners and say welcome to Commissioner Balke and Commissioner Wardlow. We're really looking forward to working with you and looking forward to a productive year. So welcome. And with that,
Thank you. I'm honored to serve and I'm thrilled to be with you all.
fantastic. So we're going to move on to the preliminary matters. And we are going to go to 2A, which is nominations and election of chair and vice chair.
Mr. Chair, I'll nominate you for chair. And if you want to
I'll
take two
second.
items, I can bolt on a Bonderson for vice if you want to do it in one motion.
We'll
I'd like to
do
do it separately, please.
it separately.
Okay.
So chair first, thank you, Commissioner Higgins, for the nomination. Are there any additional nominations for chair? I'm not seeing any. Ms. Fennessy, can we do a roll call vote for the chair nomination?
Thank you. I'll start the roll call vote. Commissioner Balke,
Yes.
Commissioner Bonderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Higgins,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiscombe,
Yes.
and Commissioner Escobedo.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. And thank you to my colleagues for that. And so we will now move on to vice chair nominations. Are
Okay.
there
Bonderson?
Anderson?
Second.
I would like to nominate Jay Higgins for vice chair.
And I'll second it.
Didn't we have, oh, sorry, Mr. Chair, I have a comment, but I'll wait.
I was just going to summarize. We have two nominations. We have Bonderson and we have Commissioner Higgins, and I will turn it over to Commissioner Higgins to provide some comments.
Oh, okay. I thought we had a somewhat of a, I don't want to say it was a conflict, but we had a one item a while back ago where we had something about a substitute motion that was a little bit awkward. Is that what we have at this point, Ms. Ostranger? And I'll note that I did not ask Ms. Ostranger directly to come on, but she came on under her own volition.
Ms. Ostringer.
Thank you, Chair Escobedo and Commissioner Higgins. I was going to come in. As a point of order, we had a motion on the floor. So we would need to vote on that. And then someone could do a substitute motion. And then if that was the case, if I believe it was Commissioner Wiscombe had made the substitute motion, then we vote on the substitute motion first, but it looks like Commissioner Wiscombe has a comment.
Thank you, Ms. Ostringer. Commissioner Wiscombe.
Thank you, Ms. Ostringer. And for the record, Commissioner Lodge made the substitute motion, as you call it. But normally when we do chair and vice chair, we take nominations and then we vote. It's always been the way we've done it. It's not voting on one and then another. It's taking nominations and then voting for the person of your choice. I don't know if you have any comment on that, Ms. Ostranger, but that's the way we've done it.
Chair Escobedo, I think in the past, although I will defer to you, Chair Wiscombe, you've been on this longer than I have. The nominations are done and then people generally just vote and then we finalize it with a motion when there's more than one.
Yes, that was my understanding as well, is that we would have nominations and then we would do somewhat of a straw poll vote. I understand that there was a second for after one of the nominations. Do we have to retract that first, Ms. Ostringer, to go and do a straw poll vote before we formalize it?
I think that would be the cleanest way, but there's,
Okay, I'll withdraw my second.
Perfect. So we have two nominations on the table. We have Commissioner Higgins and Commissioner Bonderson for vice chair. We're going to do a straw poll vote. And if commissioners can just vote either Commissioner Bonderson or Commissioner Higgins when your name is called, that would be great.
Don't I
From
have to
there-
retract my motion?
Well, there wasn't a second. Well, can you retract your motion?
No. So if you don't mind, I just am nominating Commissioner Bonderson because it follows the sort of unwritten tradition we have of chair and vice chair based on tenure, or and so only if she didn't want to do it, and she could give me some sort of hand signal or cross-eyed or WTF, what are you doing to me? But I don't see that quite yet. So
Thank you, Commissioner Higgins. I appreciate the nomination. I'd be honored to be vice chair.
okay, all right then.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Lodge?
thank you. I'm confused by all of this. We've always made nominations and then voted on the nominations. And however that comes out, we don't do straw polls. It's like the city council when the woman who appointed Commissioner Balke and Commissioner Wardlow. Nominations were made and then council members voted for which ones they preferred.
Correct, Commissioner Lodge. I think we're saying the same thing in different words. That's what I'm trying to do is we have two nominations on the table. We're going to go through, each commissioner is going to be able to name the commissioner that they're supporting for vice chair. And then after that, we can formalize it in a formal motion.
Okay,
Thank you.
that doesn't, well, all right.
Okay, we can do that. Just the other way of doing it would be to vote on the first motion.
We can do that as well, but let's just follow. If you can just trust me on this, we will get to
100%.
the place that we want.
You got it,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Lucky. You sure?
So, Ms. Fennessy, if we could do a roll call vote, we're going to go through each commissioner, and each commissioner is going to name the who they are supporting for vice chair.
Thank you. I'll start with Commissioner Bonderson,
Thank you. I will vote for myself.
Commissioner Higgins,
Bonderson.
Commissioner Lodge,
Higgins,
Commissioner Wardlow,
Commissioner Bonderson.
Commissioner Wiscombe,
Higgins,
Commissioner Balke,
Bonderson.
and Chair Escobedo.
Bonderson.
Thank you. Bonderson has 5 and Higgins has 2. So Bonderson is vice chair.
Thank you. Can we formalize both the chair and vice chair? I know we already kind of did the chair, but can we formalize it with a motion and a second, and we will have our chair and vice chair for this year?
I so move.
Second.
And Ms. Fennessy, if we can do one more roll call vote on this, please.
Thank you. I'll start the roll call vote. Commissioner Higgins,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
yes.
Commissioner Wardlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiscombe,
yes.
Commissioner Balke,
Yes.
Commissioner Bonderson,
Yes.
and Chair Escobedo.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right. I told you, Commissioner Higgins, trust me.
Trust
So-
but verify.
Yes. Now we are going to move on to item 2B, request for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of X agenda items. Mr. Bus,
Yes, thank you, Chair Escobedo. We have none.
thank you. And Mr. Bus, do we have any announcements or appeals?
We have no announcements, no appeals.
Fantastic. We are now going to go to item D, which is review, consideration, and action on the December 16th, 2021 Planning Commission minutes. Do we have any edits to the minutes? And if not, do we have a motion to approve?
I can.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wiscombe, a second from Commissioner Higgins. Any discussion on the item? I'm not seeing any. Ms. Fennessy, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Thank you. I'll start the roll call vote. Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardlow,
Abstain?
Commissioner Wiscombe,
Yes.
Commissioner Baki,
Abstain?
Commissioner Bonderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Higgins,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Escobedo,
Yes,
and Chair Escobedo.
that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we will now open up public comment pertaining to items that are not on today's agenda. Ms. Fennessy, do we have anyone from the public that would like to provide public comment today?
Thank you. At this time, I do not see any hands raised in the attendees list. And if you would like to comment, please follow the directions on screen. And we did not receive any general written public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fennessy. We will close public comment and we will move on to our administrative agenda. And the first order of business is appointment of advisory board liaison. And Mr. Busk shared with us the rubric that kind of outlines the different advisory boards. I'm going to pull it up. Mr. Busk, did you want to pull up that document for our discussion? Is that possible? Fantastic. And so I'm actually going to ask for a little bit of help. I forget how we did this and the best way to go about this. Mr. Busk, if you have any feedback.
Yes, thank you, Chair Escobedo. So I will start with the first commission on the list, and then we'll see if anyone, generally what we do is we ask for volunteers. Anyone that's interested puts their name out there, and then if we have multiple people interested in the same liaison position, then we would take a vote.
Fantastic.
Okay, so with that, let's start with the Airport Commission. Is there anyone that would like to be liaison to the Airport Commission?
I am currently the liaison. I'm happy to do so if there's no other takers.
It might be helpful to our new commissioners, Mr. Chair, if you just, and whoever the primary is, give us some idea about how frequently the meetings are, how frequently you attend, just from a workload standpoint, and not necessarily on airport, just all of them, since we don't have anything else on our agenda.
Absolutely. So for the Airport Commission, meets once a month. It's on the third Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I would say this past year it was canceled maybe a few times. So I think in total there was about 7 or 8 meetings last year. Not a terribly large workload, but very interesting topics and discussions. I'm more than happy to be the primary, but if anyone else is interested, happy to give it up as well. Commissioner Wardlow?
I'm happy to be the primary if that is best for everyone's desires on the other committees.
Fantastic.
I know you have a lot on your plate already.
Yeah, I'm hoping to give up a few of my
Okay.
commitments.
I can stay as alternate if nobody else wants it.
Fantastic. So we have Commissioner Wardlow as the primary and Commissioner Higgins as the alternate, unless I hear from anyone else.
Okay, sounds good. Then we will move on to the next board, which is the Architectural Board of Review.
So I currently am the primary for that, and if it's okay with everyone, I'd like to keep it. Any problems?
Commissioner Lodge, you're muted.
Sorry. I thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm alternate and I'm happy to continue as that. Unless somebody else wants it.
Great.
Going once, going twice. I can move on to the next one.
Yep. Looks like we got Commissioner Bonderson for the primary and Commissioner Lodge for the alternate.
Okay, great. The next committee is the Creeks Restoration Advisory Committee.
Once again, I'm primary on that one and I'm happy to stay with that unless someone else would like to do it.
And I'm happy to be the alternate unless someone else would like to do it.
Don't see any takers, so that sounds great to me.
Okay, the next committee is the Downtown Parking Committee.
I have been involved with the Downtown Parking Committee the last few years. I was the alternate last year and would be happy to take the primary unless there are other takers.
That's going to be a really important committee, I think, during this upcoming year with all that's going on downtown. So I've been on it before as primary. If anyone can make, it's a great learning experience. If anyone can make the 7:30 a.m. meetings, it's really a good, it give you a good overview of what goes on.
They're all online, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I think they used to meet at Gebhardt and they weren't online. Are
That's
they
correct.
online now, Gabe?
I
They are.
imagine they must be because of COVID. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're online now. In the past, they were not online. You had to attend in
Yeah.
person.
You had to go in person. Yeah.
They have a very large, I'll say, portfolio of influence in terms of downtown. So you're right. Commissioner Wiscombe is an important body.
Yeah.
Are there any commissioners that would like to be the primary for downtown parking? And if not, I'm happy to take the primary. I'm also happy to stay as alternate.
It's second Thursday at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
I can do alternate with you, and we can blend in. I can take more of the meetings if you can't make them.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that sounds great.
and if anybody mid-year wants to jump into that too, just don't be shy. We can do that.
So I will be the primary and Commissioner Higgins will be the alternate for downtown parking.
Okay, great. Moving on, we have the Harbor Commission.
I'd like to stay primary on that, given my involvement with the commercial fishermen and just the general waterfront, if that's okay with everyone.
I'm fine as alternate. If nobody else wants it.
Commissioner Wiscombe as the primary, Commissioner Higgins as the alternate for the Harbor Commission.
Okay, the Historic Landmarks Commission.
Mr. Chair, I'm primary and I'm happy to continue with that unless someone else would like to.
I would like to be the alternate again, now that Commissioner Reed has stepped off of Planning Commission, I can take that one back. If no one else wants it, of course.
I have some interest in being an alternate.
Please
Good.
take it. It's not a problem for me.
Okay.
So Commissioner Lodge as the primary, Commissioner Balke as the alternate for Historic Landmarks Commission.
Okay, Parks and Recreation. Oh,
Chair Escobedo, I just wanted to insert something for the new commissioners here. And that's that, you know, these meetings are all online. So you don't necessarily need to physically join the online meeting at the time of the meeting. You can review them anytime at your leisure and then report back to the Planning Commission. Oftentimes, some of these meetings don't ever get reported back because there's really nothing that's pertinent to us. So when you're considering your roles here as principal or alternate, you know, consider the fact that you can view them online at your leisure and then report back to the commission. Oftentimes, we as commissioners will peruse the agenda, and if there's nothing on the agenda that looks like it's going to be pertinent to planning, then we just don't report on the meeting at all. So I just wanted to say that, so you're not shy about thinking you're locking yourself into a certain time and date.
Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder, Commissioner Wiscombe.
okay, Parks and Recreation Commission.
I am currently the primary, but I'm more than happy to offer that to someone else. Commissioner Wardlow.
Question for you, Mr. Chair. What's the subject matter coming this year? If you know any bigger projects, because we've had some pretty large capital projects come through that commission that have come to the Planning Commission as well. Do you know of anything?
I don't know of anything, but I anticipate that there's more big projects on the horizon. Mr. Buss, do you happen to know of any? I know that the Ortega Park project, there's some questions about funding for that one. So I'm not sure if that one's going to come back in a different form.
And Mr. Chair, Dwight Murphy is.
And Dwight Murphy.
That's a big one.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of what else. I can't think of anything right now, but.
I believe the Andre Clark Bird Refuge will be
yeah.
moving forward as well.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any additional projects. We don't have anything that's currently being reviewed by planners. But I also haven't looked at the capital program for the year.
Yeah, we've done 1,000 Steps. We've participated in that. And we've also participated in the Andre Clark Bird Refuge, which had to go to the Coastal Commission because of the split in that. So those are two that had come to my mind, but we've been there and done that on those. So
I'd be interested in serving if that's good for the team.
Sounds great. Is there any interest in the alternate position? And if not, then I'm more than happy to be the alternate.
You do alternate there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
If Commissioner Wiscombe wants to keep it, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm the alternate now, and you know I have a long history with the Parks and Recreation Commission, so I'll be happy to stay as alternate.
That sounds great.
Okay. Yeah.
We have Commissioner Wardlow as the primary, Commissioner Wiscombe as the alternate.
Okay, Single Family Design Board.
This is another one that I'm primary on and happy to continue as that unless someone else would like to take it over.
Commissioner Balke, are you sure you don't want to get involved in this one? Pretty quiet back there. Maybe you got a problem with your microphone.
We did a tech test before the meeting. I am the alternate for single family, so if there are no other takers, I'm happy to be alternate again. No, I'm not seeing any. So Commissioner Lodge as the primary, myself as the alternate.
Okay, the next board is the the staff hearing officer liaison.
I'm okay staying with that as primary, if nobody else wants it.
I'm currently the alternate, and as long as Jay never has me do anything, couldn't help myself. I can stay as alternate if you need me to be.
Great. So Commissioner Higgins as the primary and Vice Chair Bonderson as the alternate.
Okay, the Sustainability Council Committee.
I'm primary on that one too, and it's okay for me to continue with that, again, unless someone else would like to take it over.
How often do they meet?
Not very. I think there were 3 or 4 meetings over the past year.
There may be more meetings. Mr. Buss, are we updating the climate action plan this year?
Yes, that's my understanding.
So they might have a little more work this year.
I'm the alternate. I'd be happy if someone else wanted it, or I'll just stay as the alternate.
I have some interest in being the alternate. But I did see Commissioner Wardlow. If you have interest, I'm more than happy to. Commissioner Wiscombe, did you want to keep the alternate, or are you okay giving it up?
I'm okay giving it up.
Okay. So Commissioner Lodge as primary, myself as alternate.
Okay, Transportation and Circulation Committee.
I am the primary for that. I'd love to keep it if that's okay with the team. Does anyone else have any interest? I don't think we have an alternate for that.
I'd love to. I'm happy to serve as alternate if that works.
Sounds great. So we have Vice Chair Bonderson as a primary, Commissioner Wardlow as the alternate.
Okay, moving on to the Water Commission.
I'm the primary on that. If anyone else is interested in that, I'd be happy to give it up. If not, I'll be happy to keep it. Okay, don't all speak at once. Okay.
I'm definitely interested, but I want to be careful of the timing of things. I do appreciate your insight into the fact that we can watch these later, but I'll serve as an alternate if that's helpful.
Okay.
What are some of the big subjects coming through, Commissioner Wiscombe, on Water Commission?
I don't know. It's funny, it says Water Commission meets at 3 p.m. the second Monday of the month. My recollection is they meet at 9 o'clock in the morning on the Thursday before Planning Commission. Do I have that wrong?
I don't know. I didn't get any updates from any of the liaisons to these committees, but you may be right.
My recollection is that, you know, I had Water Commission, Planning Commission, and then Harbor Commission kind of all on
one day.
Yeah, but I might be confusing that with something, but I generally watch the meetings online and I look at the agenda first. There's always an update from staff on water resources and where we are, rainfall, etc. But sometimes I watch them and sometimes there's really no need for me to watch them. So.
Chair Escobedo, Commissioner Wiscombe, I just looked online and you're correct. Commissioner Wiscombe, they meet on the third Thursday of each month at 9 a.m.
Oh. Thank you, Ms. Ostringer. Yeah, that's. So, Commissioner Wardlow, do you want to be the alternate on that? Did you just express? Okay.
Happy to be the alternate.
Okay.
Commissioner Wiscombe as the primary, Commissioner Warlow as the alternate.
Okay, and now we are moving into what we call temporary committees. They're for specific issues. However, temporary may be multi-year. So the first one is the Highway 101 Improvements Design Working Group. And we have Commissioner Higgins as the primary. And for these groups, we do like the continuity. So hopefully, Commissioner Higgins, you can remain. However, we need an additional primary to fill, I believe it was Chair Schwartz's role.
I'd be more than glad to take that second slot as a primary.
And I'm not aware of when they plan to start up again, but I know they do. So I'll make an inquiry with our transportation staff on that, John.
Yeah.
And did you skip FAR?
I don't think that group is meeting anymore. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we have Commissioner Higgins and Commissioner Balke as the two primaries for the Highway 101 Improvements Design Working Group.
Okay, the next is the Sea Level Rise Working Group. And Commissioner Wiscombe was the primary, and we'll need to fill an additional primary role.
I'm interested in participating.
All right. Don't see any other commissioners. So is that Commissioner Wiscombe that's on there currently? So Commissioner
Yes.
Wiscombe and Commissioner Wardlow for the two primaries for Sea Level Rise Working Group.
Yeah, and I don't know when, and maybe when we get into another phase, we finished the adaptation plan, but when we get into another phase, I don't know if staff plans to start up with the same group again, but it's good. Okay.
Okay, the next group is the Santa Barbara Design Standards Working Group.
Ms. Tabasco, I have a question on this one. The new 2-unit residential housing, is that going to be reviewed or not reviewed, but part of this group since it's multi-unit at this time?
No, this will be for kind of essentially what was the AUD program. So multi-unit, more than 2 units, basically.
So the other one is excluded from this discussion. That's just going to be the
That's correct. At this time, the SB 9, we did develop some architectural standards that are in the ordinance. And we did say we'd be looking at those with applications that come in to see if they work, and we would adjust if we were seeing issues. But at this time, we're not planning to amend those.
Thank you. I just wanted to have clarification. What do you need for this? Do you need a primary and a secondary? They both open?
We need one primary, one alternate. I'm showing Chair Escobedo as the primary and Commissioner Lodge as the alternate. Would you like to continue?
I have a really, so I'm on another commission in addition to this one, and it's going to be a busy year. So I would actually like to give up my primary role on this.
I'm interested in that position.
I think that's great. And I don't see any other takers. So Commissioner Balke as the primary and Commissioner Lodge as the alternate.
I'll continue as that unless someone else would like to take it over.
Commissioner Wardlow?
Did you say it's 2 primaries or 1 and then the alternative?
1 primary.
Okay, then Commissioner Lodge, if you're interested in staying as the alternative, that's fine. But if you'd like to give it up, then I'd be happy to take it.
You're welcome to it.
All right.
All right, so we have Commissioner Balke as the primary and Commissioner Wardlow as the alternate for the Santa Barbara Design Standards Working Group.
Okay. Next is the Plaza de la Guerra Working Group, and we need 2 primary for that. Commissioner Wiscombe has been on that committee, so would you like to remain?
2+ years I've been on it, yes.
Excellent. So we will need 1 more primary.
I would like to be the primary, another primary on that, unless there's someone else who's interested.
I'm not hearing anything, so Commissioner Wiscombe and Commissioner Lodge as the 2 primaries for the Plaza de la Guerra Working Group.
I thought we were going to have an arm wrestle on that one.
Really? Why?
I am
It's fun.
interested.
It's like, I was on it for a couple months. It's pretty juicy. It's fun, but
Well, you were on it early. It's now, you know, we've had our joint meeting with HLC and now it's kind of in HLC's hands. It'll come back to us for some, I
okay.
think for some wrap up, but.
So it's
you know,
winding down.
Well, we don't know where it's going in HLC.
We'll call it a splash pad, right?
Yeah, right. A low flow, safe, healthy splash pad.
Right.
All right. So just to confirm, that was Commissioner Wiscombe and Commissioner Lodge as the 2 primaries.
Okay, next is the Water Vision Stakeholders Group. Commissioner Escobedo, you are currently the primary.
And I'm happy to stay as the primary. I have not heard from this group in quite a while, so I'm not sure if we will be meeting, but yeah, I'm happy to stay the primary.
Okay, and finally, the State Street Advisory Committee. Commissioner Bonderson is our primary.
Yes, and I'd like to stay that way for the time being.
Sounds great.
That's just got 1 spot available for only 1 planning commissioner, right? That's okay.
That's correct.
Mr. Busk, I don't know the policy behind it, but is there a reason that there's not an alternate for this role?
I honestly don't know. I think those decisions were made when they established the numbers from each group, but I wasn't part of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's alternates that are coming from like the design review boards. They're just
There's not, yeah.
name only.
Chelsea doesn't have it either. Just asking, thank you.
Yeah, council had just picked primaries. They didn't designate alternates.
All right, so Vice Chair Bonderson as State Street Advisory Committee primary.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask if we can create another committee, different one.
All right, more committees.
Yeah.
All right.
One that would be a subcommittee of the Planning Commission to update our PC guidelines, which we've talked about in the past. Probably 3, but not 4 people.
Yeah, and I know, I think the last time they were updated was 1997. So
There's
probably
there's some things that are definitely in need of updating, because at least there's our NZO has some new staff hearing officer rules that are not reflected in our guidelines, and there's had to have been some updates to either Brown Act or conflict law, either by the legislature or by interpretation of our city attorney, and certainly COVID remote related proceedings and some nuance there that would be good to pack in. And my idea would be to get into a committee, work with staff as to what kind of red lines are appropriate, and then bring it back to the commission for review and adoption sometime this year.
Yeah, personally, I think that's a great idea. Mr. Busk, what is the best way to go about this process of forming a subcommittee work group?
You're muted.
You're muted, Ms. DeBus.
Thank you. I would ask Ms. Ostringer for the best way to go about forming that subcommittee.
So I'd actually had a conversation internally with Commissioner Bonderson because I think she had inquired similarly with concerns about the update. I had suggested that perhaps I meet with her to kind of scope out the subcommittee and how that would go, and then come back in one of the next couple meetings to have the commission vote to create that subcommittee and add 3 commissioners to the subcommittee. If the commission desires just to create the subcommittee now and scope it out later with me, we can do that. I think the best way to go about doing that would be to go ahead and move this item with the addition of the creation of the subcommittee, the new subcommittee. So when you make your motion to accept the appointments that you've just made, just add that subcommittee with the 3 commissioners you've appointed.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Ms. Ostringer. And Vice Chair Bonderson?
Thank you, Chair Escobedo. I have to apologize to Ms. Ostringer. I didn't realize that this would come up at the hearing. I was trying to figure out procedure behind the scenes. But that being said, if we are forming this as a subcommittee here today, I would like to participate since I've already started somewhat figuring things out with Ms. Ostringer. Does that require a nomination, or can I just ask to be part of that to continue working on this?
Let's gauge interest from the full commission, and then if we need to, then we can do a straw poll vote. So are there other commissioners that would be interested in joining this subcommittee? I see Commissioner Wardlow with her hand up.
Yes, I'd love to, if, yes.
And Commissioner Higgins, I see your hand up. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Mm-hmm.
since we seem to have 3 committee members, I'll move that we formulate the Planning Commission Guidelines Update Subcommittee with Commissioners Bonderson, Higgins, and Wardlow as the committee members, and that they work with staff to determine the best way to move forward with the committee.
Thank you for that. And we have a second from Commissioner Bauke. Any discussion? I'm not seeing any. So Ms. Fennessy, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
So you're doing a roll call vote on the whole enchilada, all appointments?
All appointments.
A motion.
Yeah, I'll amend the motion. I'm sorry. I'll amend the motion to include the 2022 PC liaison appointments as we decided today.
Second.
Do we need them read back? I don't think we do, do we?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone through it. I did want to highlight one thing during this discussion period is, and I regret not bringing this up prior to the motion, but Commissioner Wardlow brought to my attention before the meeting the possibility of having a liaison to the Housing Authority. Can you, Commissioner Wardlow, if you could help me out here?
Sure. So I was just inquiring about the interest or ability to do in any type of liaison to the Housing Authority, understanding that housing is a huge priority for us. I would think that having more insight and communication with the Housing Authority and understanding the projects that they're undertaking could be helpful. So I was just wondering why we didn't have that position as of now.
Mr. Busk, is there any insight that you can provide?
Chair Escobedo, I do not know the official reason other than that the Housing Authority is a separate body. It's not a board or commission. as the other ones are. So it operates a little bit differently. And I would, my one question would be whether there could be any conflicts of interest, since sometimes the Housing Authority would bring projects to the Planning Commission for decisions. So Ms. Ostringer may be able to provide feedback on that.
I'd have to look into that as just a simple liaison. I don't know that we'd have conflicts, but because they are a separate entity, I think we'd have to talk with them regarding whether or not they would like to have a liaison. And so that's something Chair Escobedo and Commissioner Wardlow, we can look into if that's something you're interested in.
That would be great, Ms. Ostringer. Commissioner Higgins, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the idea is a good one, and it's broadly something I wanted to explore in subcommittee on formation of other types of committees, because Commissioner Wardlow's point is excellent in that housing is a big item. And I could certainly see somehow attending some of their proceedings, assuming they're public hearings, because most of the committees that we are liaisoning to, if that's the right word, we dip in during public hearings. So it's nothing, I don't think it's a confidentiality thing or a conflict, but we should look at it. And you know, broadly speaking, if there are other activities going on where the city ought to be part of the discussion on a regional planning level with SBCAG or, you know, Montecito Planning Commission, those kinds of things, we ought to be able to jump in on that if people have the time and interest. So I definitely support looking into the Housing Authority subject matter for some kind of a liaison, because it's a big deal for us to solve what we try to solve, what seems to be every other hearing with a housing item. So
Thank you, Commissioner Higgins. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. So not a part of this motion or today's hearing, but we'll continue to work with staff to assess whether or not that's feasible and reach out to the Housing Authority to get their perspective as well. So we have a motion on the table to approve the 2022 liaison list, and we've gone through the primaries and alternates. We're also going to add the subcommittee to work with staff to update the PC guidelines. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? I'm not seeing any. So Ms. Fennessy, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
Thank you. I'll start the roll call vote. Commissioner Wardlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiscombe,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakke,
Yes.
Commissioner or Vice Chair Vonderson,
Thank you. Yes.
Commissioner Higgins,
yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
and Chair Escobedo.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right.
Mr. Chair, just on that item, I just got an email from Rod Fredericks, who's watching. So we know we at least have one fan. He said he'd be happy to have a liaison from the PC.
Fantastic. So we'll continue to that conversation with staff offline, and hopefully come back to the Planning Commission when it's a little more official. So
Chair,
yes,
thank you for bringing this item up. I really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you for highlighting it. And it just occurred to me, Mr. Buss, that we did not open up public comment for the last item. So before we close out this item, can we please open up public comment, Ms. Fennessy?
Thank you. And as of right now, I do not see any hands raised in the attendees list. And if you would like to make a public comment, please follow the instructions on the screen. And we did not receive any written public comment, so I'll hand it back to the commission.
Thank you. All right, so we will close out this item and we will move on to committee and liaison reports. The first is the staff hearing officer liaison report. Commissioner Higgins, is there anything to report?
Mr. Chair, there was a meeting yesterday, but it snuck up on me and I didn't attend, so I'll have to report on. There was one item, and I'll have to report on that next week.
Okay, sounds great. Any other committee or liaison reports? Commissioner Bonderson?
Thank you, Chair Escobedo. We have had a running start here at the beginning of 2022. I have ABR items to report on January 10th. That was just earlier this week. Excuse me, I'm sorry. State Street Advisory Committee, Monday of this week, that's January 10th. We already had our first meeting of the year, and it was very informative. If anyone's interested in the video to go back and watch, we were provided two presentations. One was an overview of proposed economic recovery extension and transition ordinance, and the other one was public safety access needs and traffic circulation considerations related to the closure, the potential closure of the 400 block. And that was a really thorough presentation, giving several scenarios of what can be done and what the potential outcomes of those changes may look like. But those are all still in study. And so the public safety, the traffic team is going to be providing us a lot more data once they study it further. And they have set their 2022 schedule for Mondays, once a month at the moment, may expand to twice a month. That is wait and see what happens. So if anyone's interested, they are scheduled for the third Monday of each month from 4 to 6. I also have one item to report on from ABR, and that is from December 13th, back in 2021. Just wanted to let everyone know on our commission here that the Montecito Club project that has come to our attention over and over again, Montecito Country Club, came to ABR with the request for design approval as well as final approval. And those were granted with follow-up comments. So hopefully that will be wrapping itself up shortly. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Bonderson. Really appreciate that. Are there other committee or liaison reports? Commissioner Wiscombe?
Thank you, Chair Escobedo. The only thing I have to report is an upcoming meeting for the De La Guerra Plaza revitalization. That is, the concept is going on to, excuse me, HLC on Wednesday, the 19th. That's next Wednesday. The meeting starts at 1:30. I didn't see the agenda posted yet, but I think Councilwoman Snedden said they were second on the agenda with that. So that's something to keep in mind. They'll be reviewing the concept and making comments, and before we move on further with the revitalization plan. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Looking forward to that. Any other committee or liaison reports? All right. I'm not seeing any. So and just like that, in under an hour, we're done with our first meeting of the year.
And don't think this is the norm to the new commissioners. We're only getting started.
Well,
Enjoy it while you can.
It's about a half hour too long. What are you talking about?
I do have a tendency to go on. So
good job, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to a productive year, and welcome to our two new commissioners.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everyone. And it's exciting. Stay safe out there. We're going to adjourn this meeting at 1:57. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.